actor can be found atop a cold mountain, contemplating existence, asking, "What's it all about, Alfie?" I'm not sure if he's a libertarian, but nobody liked his nanny state, because it's Jude Law. It's Hollywood swingers.
That introduction means it's time for our favourite segment of the show, Hollywood Swingers, where we celebrate those Hollywood movie stars who swung into music. This week it is Jude Law. Tell me about him, Paul.
David Jude Hayworth Law. He was born 29th of December 1972. It was a Friday.
Yes.
To parents Peter and Margaret, who were both teachers.
Oh.
Now, he was called by his middle name from birth. Honestly, why bother with a first name in the first place if that's the case? Jude apparently came from, so they say, a bit of both of the Beatles song that we've just heard and the Thomas Hardy novel Jude the Obscure. But that kind of sounds like something they've made up.
Just to seem like
because
they
they've
were
admitted
just,
to the Beatles songs. Somebody's mocked them for it and then they went, "Oh, we also mean the Thomas Hardy novel as well."
Oh, okay.
Law started acting in 1987 with the National Youth Music Theatre, and he would appear in various West End productions for which he received a number of nominations for Outstanding Newcomer.
Was he ever in an episode of The Bill?
No, I'm afraid not.
Boo. Continue.
But at the age of 17, what he was in, Law dropped out of school altogether, and he took a role in the ITV daytime soap Families, where he played the character of Nathan Thompson for 2 years.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Wow.
His first big film role came in 1994 with a leading role in Paul W.S. Anderson's directorial debut, Shopping. Now, Paul W.S. Anderson's not to be confused with Paul Thomas Anderson, who makes good films. Paul W. Anderson is the guy who made the Resident Evil movies. But he starred in that film opposite the likes of Sean Pertwee and his future wife Sadie Frost.
Hold on, this is like the what were they called?
We'll get to that in a minute. Don't jump ahead.
I'm sorry.
Roles then followed in the likes of the sci-fi thriller Gattaca with Ethan Hawke and the Clint Eastwood directed Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, before 1999 saw Law win a BAFTA award as well as receive a Golden Globe and an Oscar nomination for his performance in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
That's the one where Matt Damon...
Yes, Matt Damon is the killer Mr. Ripley.
And he's like pretending he knows everybody and stuff. Yeah. That's a weird film.
Hi, I'm Dickie.
No.
Not one to let his meteoric rise go to his head, Law and his then wife Sadie Frost were members of a group of celebs, like you were saying, called the Primrose Hill Set.
That's who
and that included the height of 90s celebrity royalty, including such luminaries as Ewan McGregor, the Gallagher brothers from Oasis, Kate Moss, Johnny Lee Miller, and Donna Eyre. Noted in the press for their love of drink, drugs and bed hopping, some of the set also set up a production company called Natural Nylon.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Yes.
And with the first film they produced was the Jude Law vehicle Existence. Now that was the film that was directed by David Cronenberg of Videodrome and The Fly fame.
Yeah.
The story saw game designers trapped in a virtual reality game that might or might not be real life, and then someone makes a flesh gun with teeth for bullets.
That sounds like something out of Black Mirror.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it didn't do much at the box office.
Okay.
Law then starred in the 2001 films Enemy at the Gates, and then he played a robot gigolo in the Steven Spielberg Stanley Kubrick film, the film that Steven Spielberg finished for Stanley Kubrick when he passed away, the film AI, Artificial Intelligence.
Which was a modern day take on the Pinocchio myth.
Yes, pretty much.
Awful film.
Before following these with acclaimed performances in The Road to Perdition, with starring Tom Hanks and Paul Newman, the Sally guy, and Cold Mountain, for which he received an Oscar nomination for Best Actor.
Right.
So he had quite a meteoric rise early in his career. 2004 saw the actor's cool hit production company make the film Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
I loved that film.
Well, that was one of the first films. Might actually have been the first movie to be fully shot in front of blue screens.
Yeah.
Fully CGI. There was no real sets.
It's a super weird film.
And with everybody talking about deepfakes at the moment, Jude Law, because obviously his production company was involved in making it, he had them use footage of a young Laurence Olivier. And they made Laurence Olivier the baddie of the film, despite the fact that he had died over a decade earlier.
Is that legal?
It must have been.
That's always that iffy thing. Like, you know, when that chocolate bar company used Audrey Hepburn to
Yeah,
sell chocolate,
it's
that always
weird.
felt really icky and weird.
Well, they did this away in 2004, and it's just really weird that we're talking about deepfakes now.
yeah.
But
And even
they
then,
were doing it then, even away. This is like almost 20 years ago. That's scary now that you're saying that. The film was a flop, though, as was the production company and his cool set of pals as they all split up, partly due to the breakdown of Jude Law's marriage to Sadie Frost.
she once ate my Twiglets in a bar.
How dare she? Now, he did try to bounce back by starring in the remake of Alfie, where he played the title role originated by Michael Caine. But the film was another critical and box office flop.
Wait a minute, I thought Alfie was Dudley Moore.
No, Alfie was Michael Caine.
What am I thinking about?
You're thinking of the film 10.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of something beginning. Is it an
Bedazzled?
Archie?
No, Arthur, he was
That's what
Arthur.
I'm thinking.
Also had a great song.
Yeah. If
The
you get
best
caught
that you
between the
can
moon
do,
and
yeah.
New York City, right, continue.
It was a busy year for the actor, was 2004, as well as Alfie and as well as Sky Captain. He also starred in The Aviator, I Heart Huckabees, the Lemony Snicket film, and the film Closer. All
Big films.
Big
So he's
films,
kind of
really.
moving away from his
Yeah.
friends and their weird projects
Well,
and doing more Hollywoody
yeah,
stuff.
But in fact, he was in so many films that at the 2005 Oscars, the host, comedian Chris Rock, did something you wouldn't think of him, and he made some poorly received jokes at Law's expense throughout the ceremony.
And did Law punch him?
No, he wasn't even there. One of these included stuff like, you want Tom Cruise and all you get is Jude Law. Wait, it's not the same thing, right? Who is Jude Law? Why is he in every movie I've seen in the last 4 years?
Okay.
He's in everything, even the movies he's not acting in. I'm sure he's in the credits making cupcakes or something. But apparently the jokes through the night got so uncomfortable that Sean Penn, who presented the award for Best Actress that night, got on stage, gave Chris Rock a dirty look and said, "Forgive my lack of humour, but Jude Law is one of our most talented actors." Someone had to get
No,
up on stage.
So Sean
and
Penn got up on stage and said, "Forgive my lack of humour, but
That's
Jude..."
not Sean Bean, Sean Penn.
Who's Sean Penn?
Sean Penn, who was married to Madonna.
Oh, never mind. It's not as funny now.
Can
In
we
my
do
head,
it as do Sean Penn as Sean Bean?
excuse my humourlessness, but Jude. In my head, I thought Sean Bean had gave Chris Rock a dirty look. Jude Law's
You're a
one
rat
of our
spot of
most...
raspberry jam, my son. Oh.
Right, continue.
Between this, which Law later admitted greatly upset him, and some unfortunate dalliances with a nanny that publicly saw his relationship with the actress Sienna Miller end.
Yeah.
She was in the Primrose Gang. She should have known better,
Yep.
as Jim Diamond would say. But this was all over the press. Like, 2005 wasn't a great year for Jude Law.
But also, this is a time, right, where women who were having an affair with people could get an agent off of having an affair with a famous person. It was a weird time in British pop culture
Rebecca
history.
Luce.
That kind of vibe where you went to Max Clifford or was something, he was your agent, and then you got a spot on Celebrity Big Brother. It was a weird, weird time. Continue.
Yes, very weird. But it did seem to bounce back. But I mean, I don't think he ever hit the heights of 2004.
He was in that
Where he was in
film
everything.
with the house
But
swapping.
he was in the likes of the rom-com The Holiday
That's it.
with Kate Winslet. He had 2 appearances as Dr. Watson in the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes films. I'm not going to lie, I really like those.
I don't.
He had a host of supporting roles in many acclaimed films.
Yeah.
And then he got back on the money train recently by starring in both a Marvel movie. He played the baddie in Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And then he entered the Harry Potter universe by taking on the role of the young Albus Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts films.
I am not going to watch fan fiction films. Not happening, not seen them, not interested. What else has he done?
Well, that's pretty much it.
Oh, good on Jude Law.
I mean, he's done a lot of good movies. He's just one of these guys that's about. Have you had any experiences of Jude Law in your life? Because you are Ashley Gump. Obviously, Sadie Frost stole your Twiglets.
Yes.
But what about Jude Law?
Yes, I met Jude Law. I've met Jude Law, and it was one of the most awkward things in the world.
Right.
I was in a club in London, and there was this woman crying in a toilet, and I was like unconsolable crying, and I was
Which year?
he's married to. He was going with Sienna Miller at the time.
Right, okay.
So this is like just before and it was a tense time. It was just before they broke up.
Right.
And Sean Pertwee is there as well. Okay. Wurzel Gummidge's son.
One of the gang.
And I'm in the toilet with this woman and she's crying and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, it's just so hard because, people keep staring and I don't know what's going on. And she was complaining about being famous, but she wasn't famous. She was just married to someone famous. I'm not going to say who her husband was, but her husband was a famous actor. So I was like, oh, that sucks. Can I get somebody for you? I'm being my normal people pleasing self. Is there anything do you want me to get you water and you can calm down? Because she was proper worked up and she was like, my friends aren't talking to me. Will you come sit with me? So I go to sit with her and her friends are Sienna Miller and Jude Law and she goes, this is my new friend, Ainsley. I'm Ashley. Makes me sit down at this table with her husband who's clearly staring at me going, who are you and why are you with my mad wife? And Jude Law and Sienna Miller who are like, so what do you do? I'm like a teenager. I'm like, I don't know, I'm at school. I'm from Scotland. And I sat there for a good 10 minutes with this crying woman clutching my hand.
See, if you were just a wee bit cooler, you could have been in the Primrose Hill gang.
I could not have been in that gang. I'm too odd and I'm too weird and I'm too talky because it's all like, oh yes, we're going to have fun and do weird things and have parties and that. And I would just say everything out loud and make it all uncomfortable. And no, I definitely...
You could have been the wacky friend.
I could have been the Kramer of the Primrose Hill gang.
Unfortunately. If only we had a sliding doors moment.
If only, but
you
yeah,
took the wrong
it
train.
was a super awkward time.
Now, to tonight's song, and we go back to 2000 in the heyday of said Primrose Hill set that you didn't get into.
Yes.
Where the whole gang got together to make a film, seemingly for their pal, called Love, Honour and Obey. And this film is a mock gangster movie that has a vast soundtrack that not only is a boon for Hollywood swingers, you will be hearing many of it, but also features one of the rare appearances of Jude Law making a singing performance. So, here he is. It's Jude Law, and he's going to rock on.
James Dean. And where do we go from here?
That was our Hollywood swinger, Jude Law, with Rock On. Here on the Ashley Storrie Show, we rank our Hollywood swingers on a scale of 1 to 100 Kenny Rogers roasters. Kenny Rogers being the original and greatest Hollywood swinger. Paul, I'm going to come to you first. What is your score for Jude Law, our Hollywood swinger? 1, 100, somewhere in the middle. What do you think?
That's a struggle. Struggling with it.
It was okay.
Yeah, I know, but he comes across kind of posh singing. It's like David Essex. The version of that was like David Essex. Rock on.
Right.
Like, rock on.
So it's too posh. Jude Law's too posh for you.
Yeah.
But he is a posh man. He's like the Keira Knightley boy. He's a posh boy. That's
I don't
what
like it.
Okay, so Paul's. So what's your score?
40.
40 Kenny Rogers roasters for Jude Law, which means you're going to put me into a position I hate being in, which is defending Jude Law.
You don't need to defend anyone.
No,
Just
it needs to. That was an
go with your
unfair.
your opinion.
That was an unfair take because he sounds too posh. Classic
I don't
chip
mind.
on your
I
shoulder.
don't mind that people are posh. I just don't like people singing in accents. I just think there should be a standard singing voice. I don't like people singing in heavy accents. Posh, not posh, whatever.
No, there we go. Lily Allen and Ellie Goulding or whatever your name is.
All
Get
these
away.
out.
Paul doesn't like an accent singer. Lynn Williams, our off-site adjudicator, has got in touch. She's managed to stay up tonight to listen to Hollywood Swingers. Hello, Lynn, we've missed you. She says, Jude Law. Well, the song sucked, but Jude Law was a decent singer. Sounded a bit like the main singer from Tears for Fears. Good, strong voice. Not bad at all, Mr. Law. 70 Kenny Rogers roasters from me. A solid performance from Lynn Williams. I'm going to give him 80 Kenny Rogers roasters.
That's a ridiculous score.
I'm
going
to give him 80 Kenny Rogers roasters.
It wasn't
because
it
of
wasn't
Paul's...
bad enough to give like a 10 or anything like that, but it was no way was that an 80 out of 100 song.
Because Paul's trying to start a class war here on the radio.
I'm not starting any class wars.
I'm going to give Jude Law 80 Kenny Rogers
All
roasters.
I'm saying is that the proletariat need to... No, I'm not starting any class wars.
Get in touch via text 80295. Let us know if you think Paul's starting a class war. Also, what's your score for Jude Law? How many Kenny Rogers roasters? And since we're talking class war, here's the Clash with I Fought the Law.